Hello out there in YouTube land, this is Morrisman. As always, I thank you guys for coming to my channel. And today I'm going to do a short, brief video, and it's going to be entitled, Why I Do What I Do. And it's kind of obvious for most of us, most of my subscribers, but I just want to kind of, reiterate. About 2 years ago, I seen a video by a gentleman by the name of Plum Dog. And, I was looking to find some R&B soul stuff, to do covers on and to learn how to do these, correctly. And so I went and searched, and the only person that I found out there that was doing that was Warren. And, as a result of that, I dedicate my channel to Warren because in the sea of rock covers and other covers, pop stuff, there was just one channel, and that was Plum Dog, a.k.a. Warren. So I decided I was going to follow in his footsteps as far as, hey, there's not a lot of R&B stuff being shown how to do on video, on YouTube. It's just a bunch of rock stuff. So I decided to, put my channel together. And I initially decided just to do maybe 20, 30 songs that I knew off the top of my head. I had no idea that 2 years later I have over 1,000 videos. And it's like the sky's the limit because I didn't even realize I could play that many songs. But, if you keep doing something, you keep doing it. So I want to thank you guys for the subscriptions and the ongoing comments and the support, because I've gotten quite a few subscribers sending me comments saying I really appreciate your channel because it's hard to find these other songs or these songs that you do on YouTube. And that's the other reason why I do what I do, because I do stuff that you wouldn't normally find, because it really wouldn't be beneficial for me to do a cover that 75 other people are doing too. It kind of defeats the purpose. I'm doing the songs that everybody's kind of overlooking and just refuse to, to do. And what I realized when I started to play music and learn how to read sheet music, I was very excited about running out and trying to get all the sheet music from the 70s, the Gap Band, Rick James, and all that. And unfortunately, when I went into my search for these songs, the sheet music songbooks, they were non-existent, and it just made me realize that in the music industry, black music is really like low on the totem pole as far as priorities. And it's unfortunate that it's like that, because here's an interesting story. Everybody that knows me personally knows that Rick James was my idol. If it wasn't for Rick James, I probably would never picked up a guitar. So every time Rick James came to the Midwest, I used to go see him in concert. And I never forget it. One of the last concerts that he did in the Chicagoland area. The Chicago Tribune had in the music section, they had like a half a page on the fact that he was coming. Now, I read the article, and the article started off by saying this: Rick James and the Stone Canyon Band is coming to Chicago. I'm like, Canyon Band? And that's Ricky Nelson's band. So apparently, and here's the problem, apparently the people that are put in charge of black music know nothing about black music, because there was no way that that paper with that article should have gotten out. Somebody should have caught that, because we're talking about Rick James. We're talking about the guy in the heyday was selling as many records as the Beatles, selling out arenas. The majority of his early CDs or albums went double plus platinum. So we're not talking about an obscure artist. We're talking about a major artist. And the fact that they made that mistake and no one caught it is just unacceptable and ridiculous. That here it is, this man is an icon back in the day, and they making errors like that. And that just lets me know that the people that are put in charge of our music don't really know too much about our music, because it's very, very rare to find any Rick James sheet music. I found the sheet music. I've never found a book for an album, never. The only thing that I came close to finding was Rick James' greatest hits on the songbook form. And when I glanced at the titles, and Rick James had a large music category, and when I glanced at the title, the majority of the stuff were compilations of stuff that he wrote for other artists like Mary Jane Girls. And I'm saying to myself, why is these compositions on this book when Rick James can do maybe 4-volume greatest hits? So it just lets me know that, unfortunately, we are not handled with the priority that we need to be handled with. And it's just sad that it's like that, but it is like that. And that's why I dedicated my channel to bringing these great songs to life and showing people how to play them. Because again, I stress, my channel is not to teach you how to play. It's to just give you the chords so you can play. There are other YouTube channels that are qualified to teach. I'm not qualified to teach. I'm just passing on information and knowledge. And, you know, once I started to be able to learn how to play sheet music, I got introduced to eBay, and I still love it to this day. And every now and then you can find very rare books that you didn't think they exist. And here are some examples. Heatwave. Actually, this is the 2 album, Too Hot to Handle and the Central Heating album. You know, I played out of this book on many occasions. It's great. And here's something interesting before I continue. Every now and then I get people that send me comments, those are the wrong chords. And what I find interesting about those comments is it's never the videos that I do by ear, you know, because there's some songs that I just do by ear because I can't find the sheet music. But it's always the ones that I do by sheet music. And here's the thing about sheet music. It's notorious for being not in the right key, but it's never wrong. It's rarely ever wrong. I got over 200 song books, and I only found 2 errors in those books as far as that. That's definitely not the chord. So it's just interesting when I have people chime in and say, this is wrong chords. And it's like, I'm playing from the sheet music, so what is your source? You know, so just thought I'd add that. Here's another one, Earth, Wind & Fire. This was my favorite album, the All in All album, where I write the songs Serpentine Fire, Be Ever Wonderful, Love's Holiday. You know, love these guys. Anita Baker. This is hard to find too. I found it for 20 bucks, and they normally go for 80 bucks, this one. And let me say this before I continue with that. A lot of people that are not in the industry doesn't realize how much money to be made in music publishing, because most people think that the artists become extremely wealthy by the record sales and just the tours. And they can, and some of them have. But here's the thing with the touring. After a certain while, you know, when your records are not selling, they won't sponsor you to go on tour. And then eventually, you know, musicians or the music industry has a short cycle. Majority of the artists only have a lifespan about 5 years before they go into the obsolete shelf, can't get a record contract or deal anymore. And this is why, you know, it's just disturbing to me that a lot of people don't realize that the big money is in music publishing, right? You know, the song books, the sheet music. And you can make a whole lot of money because you don't have to do nothing after you've done that. And now it's going to be, your sheet music is going to be sold. And then, you know, you have people that make movies that want your songs in the movies, and they pay you to have your song in the movies. And there are people like Diane Warren, David Foster, Burt Bacharach, and Harold Davis. These tremendous songwriters have made a lot of money from sheet music, just from the sales of sheet music. So it's unfortunate that a lot of black music, the record companies just didn't publish their music, and they can continually get paid to this day. You know, it's just unfortunate that, again, the majority of the money that can be made is through sheet music. And when I used to look at the sheet music and see, say, for instance, Ohio Players, because it was like 10 or 12 of those guys, they listed about everybody on the song. And I'm saying to myself when I was younger, why does it take 8 guys to write one song? Because I can normally write a song by myself because I'm a little unique. You know, I can play guitar, I'm familiar with bass, I'm familiar with drums and keyboards, so I don't have to go get a keyboard and play and say, you know, here's my guitar lick, what would you do as far as keyboards for us? Because I can do that. But here's the reason why, and it's a humble and great gesture. They put the people's name, everybody's name on it collectively, even if they haven't contributed substantially or contributed at all to that particular composition, because if they put their name on there, they're all going to get paid royalties from the sheet music, you know, forever until they die, you know, as long as the music is selling. So, you know, it's kind of nice that they did that back in the day, because I couldn't understand why 7 guys on one composition, you know. But that's one of the main reasons why they do that. Okay, here's some more. Ray Parker Jr. Actually, Ray Parker Jr. is probably one of my all-time favorite artists. He's up there in my top 3. Average White Band, love them. And you definitely got to have some Average White Band sheet music in front of you, because their stuff is kind of complicated. Now, here's a guy that was very brilliant when it came to his business arrangement, and he's an extremely wealthy artist to this day because of that. And he was implementing, I guess, deals when he was a little guy because Motown wanted to give him a certain deal. He's like, I'm not, no, let's renegotiate this because this ain't working. And he was stubborn, and his stubbornness paid off, and I agree with him, y'all. You know, in the record industry, they try to, you know, give you the minimum, and you got to fight to get the maximum or at least the average, you know, because they're going to lowball you coming in. That's just how it works. But this guy, Stevie Wonder has just about a songbook for every album that he's made. So he's extremely wealthy as a result of that great business move. And it's hard to find his stuff. And this was a treasure. I first had this songbook about maybe 8 years ago. I got it for $20 when it was going for $120 on eBay. One day, I guess nobody wasn't looking. It popped up. I put a bid in, $20. I got it. Then I sold it for about $20. And now I found another one. Actually, I found two within 1 week for about under $12. So I'm not letting this get out of my hands anymore. Another one, Hotter Than July. I try to collect all Stevie books when I find them. And here's a very rare one. Actually, I made a copy for myself and I sold it to another guy. Shaft Songbook, Isaac Hayes. You know, I did almost just about every song off that on my YouTube channel. Babyface, hard to find him. Another Stevie Wonder song, album. It's very hard to find this one. Back in the day, these guys were on top of things, as you know, Commodores. I try to find this. When I find black sheet music, I grab it, you know, because again, our stuff is not plentiful when it comes to publishing. So I try to grab them. Here's another one. I just did some stuff off of that album. And one of my idols, hard to find his stuff. So when I do, I actually found this one in Canada. So I appreciate the guy that sold it. Another Babyface. I would love to get some of his early stuff, but they never printed it. Luther Vandross, another one. And one of my prized possessions in sheet music is the Best of the Philly sound. You know, this one I found for like $8 9 years ago. And it got a lot of good stuff, like Backstabbers, which I covered, Bet You By Golly Wow, which I covered, Could It Be I'm Falling in Love by the Spinners, which I'll probably cover in the future. Just to name a few. La 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 La. So, you know, a lot of the covers that I do are from the sheet music and from the source. And the stuff that I can't do, I find, you know, I figure it out. And I take my time and I kind of map out the voices. Here are some groups that I rarely ever cover, and then I explain why. Rufus Shaka Khan, Stevie Wonder, Luther Vandross, and Anita Baker. Now that sounds like a contradiction because I just had the books. But when I don't have the books, it's hard to do their stuff because the artists that I just mentioned, with some others, you need to have the sheet music in front of you because their chord progressions or chords are so different, and Steely Dan's another one. It's hard to kind of pick up all that stuff because they use a lot of slash chords, they use a lot of diminished chords, augmented chords. So, you know, it's very important that you have their music in front of you. And when I have people that request from those artists from that pool, and I don't have the sheet music, I normally just can't do it with the exception of going through my tabbing service because I can eventually do it, but it takes a lot of time, you know, because again, I stress this. When I post a video, most of them take like 3 to 4 hours from the start to finish to do them, and from start to finish, and then I upload them. Again, it takes a moment to tab the chords if I don't have them. Even when I have it, sometimes I have to do special arrangements for the guitar. Second of all, then I have to do the chords. You know, I edited it, put it in the video, a Sony Vegas editing program. Then I have to match the chords, the name chords with me playing, you know, up under there as I play. And as you notice, what I've done now was kind of figure out a way to kind of condense it because it's very time consuming to put every chord, you know, from the time I start playing to the time I finish. That's extremely lengthy in time. So what I do is just give you the chords. You know, I give you the verse, the chords, then I give you the change, I give you the bridge. And then throughout the song, I just label it verse. But the chords are from the first part of the video because that cuts down on a lot of time for me to do it that way. But you still get all the chords that are in the song. So some of you might be thinking, hey, I remember when you used to do it all like that. Well, that was back in the good old days when I had more time to do that, but now it's too lengthy. But getting back to what I was saying, when I don't have those sheet music for those artists I mentioned and people ask for me, you have to go through the tab and search, because those are not the type of songs that I can sit down in 10 minutes and map out the chorus and play them. It's going to take me a couple of hours. Then I got to do the video processing of it, which takes another hour and a half. So that's like 3 hours worth of work. So that's why sometimes when people say, oh, you're going to do any more Rufus and Shaka Khan stuff? Only when somebody is willing to go through the tapping service, because you're guaranteed your song to be posted if you go through the service. Again, $10 per song, 2 song minimum, because normally, back in the day when you wanted somebody to tab your song, they listen to it, write down sheet music, and just hand it to you. But what I provide is a visual as well as the audio. You can look at me playing and the contents of the song, and you can see where these chords fit and how they fit. And I try my best to come close to the right voicings as well, which is very crucial and important, because you want to sound like the record, as opposed to the guy on the record is playing a D minor sharp chord on the 5th fret, around the 5th fret, and the sheet music says it's up in the top register, because that's the problem with sheet music. The majority of it, the guitar tabulations are in first position, but in majority of the songs, like R&B songs, they're not in first position. Now, a lot of the pop and folk stuff, they are in first position, but the majority of the R&B stuff is really ever in first position. So that's why when you're playing, it says, don't sound like the record. And that's why it doesn't sound like the record. So again, that's when I do my tab, and I try to come close to where the guitar player is on the fret neck on the record, and I try to come as close as possible to duplicating that. So on that note, I'm going to sign off, and until next time, take care.